Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Angel and I give value. So today we're going to continue our talk on self-esteem. So last week we spoke about self-esteem, what self-esteem is, and why self-esteem is important to us as humans. Today we're going to talk about factors that influence self-esteem. Now, the factors that influence our self-esteem are simply a list of proven elements that affect how we value ourselves. These are lists of things that contribute to our self-esteem. The first factor that influences our self-esteem is age. Research shows that self-esteem increases from adolescence to middle adulthood. It reaches a peak at about 60 years before it starts to decline. According to a study by University of Washington, their research showed that at age 5, children start developing self-esteem. This is to say that once we get to age 5, our self-esteem level starts to grow. It all starts from age 5. Why? Because the situations around a child give them signals on the kind of esteem they should exhibit. Whether it's a good situation or a bad situation, they all signal to them on the kind of self-esteem they should build. The peak age at 60 could be because of some reasons. Because when you get to 60, you tend to feel more confident about yourself. You tend to feel more confident about who you are. You don't care what people think about you, and you're at peace with your body. And this could be due to increased life experience. Because at age 60, you might have not seen all of life, but you have seen most of life. So, as you grow, you develop your self-esteem, you grow through different stages or challenges, and it all influences your self-esteem directly and indirectly. The next factor that influences our self-esteem is health. Living healthy influences our self-esteem process. With a functional health, self-esteem can be increased. Good health provides a resource that supports our self-esteem, whereas a poor health challenges our self-esteem. The third factor that influences our self-esteem are life experiences. Our life experiences. Life experiences are thought to be the most important factor that influences our self-esteem. For example, with an unhealthy self-esteem, this can be due to negative criticisms from family and friends, thereby leaving the individual to develop a negative self-esteem. Life is full of ups and downs that will affect your growth as a person. So, when you pass through life experiences, you need to filter out the ones that will only build up your self-esteem and not weigh it down. Going to the next one. The third factor that influences our self-esteem is comparing ourselves to others. This is also an important factor, comparing ourselves to others. As I said earlier, factors that influence our self-esteem are things that contribute to how we value ourselves. For you to start comparing yourself to others, it means you don't actually value yourself. This life is not about comparison. It is wrong to compare yourself to others. Yes, you have mentors, you have people you look up to, but comparing brings a sense of degrading to yourself, because then you think you can't make it. You start thinking you can't get to where this person has gotten to. Or sometimes, even when you have done something, even when you have achieved something, you still feel you have not done anything. Because you are like, you will say, no, this person has done more than this, so I've not even done anything. You don't appreciate the little or the great or the big that you have done for yourself. Another factor that influences our self-esteem is physical disabilities. Some people were born with disabilities in one or two parts of their body. However, this does not stop you from becoming who you want to be. I'll be sharing with us a story about a lady. She's an inspiration to many people, especially those that are physically disabled. Her name is Muniba Mazari Balok. She's a Pakistani activist, anchor, She's an artist and a motivational speaker. She was appointed as Pakistan's first national ambassador for UN Women in December 2015. Note, she wasn't born in a wheelchair. She was born with two legs and she was walking perfectly fine in it. Along the line, she got involved in an accident with her former spouse. And when she was involved in this accident, the doctor told her that she won't be able to walk again, that she won't be able to have a child. And for her, her true aspiration was to become an artist. The doctor still told her that she won't be able to paint due to multiple injuries that she sustained. But for Mazari, she decided in her heart, and I quote her, to add color in my life. She said she wanted to add color in her life. So what did she do? She asked her brothers to get her paint supplies and canvas and let her paint. Mazari was bedridden for 2.5 years. She overcome her fear and she adopted a child. She was always fighting against the perception that people had about her. And she was adamant not to let others feel sympathetic about her. In a bid to change this perception people had about her, she started speaking more in the public. She started appearing in adverts for various companies and she continued painting, thereby becoming Pakistan's first wheelchair-bound artist. She was also featured in BBC's 100 Inspirational Women for 2015 and Forbes 30 Under 30 for 2016. She continues to be a powerful voice for inclusion and diversity in Pakistan. This is Mazari. She is physically disabled. She can't walk. She's in a wheelchair, but she's still impacting lives. To conclude this factor, which is physical disabilities that can influence our self-esteem, I want to tell you this. Nobody can stop you except yourself. No situation can stop you except you let that situation stop you. The next factor that influences our self-esteem is thinking patterns. Our thinking patterns. I want you to know that negative thoughts make you feel bad about yourself, and this can lower your self-esteem. The more negative thoughts you have for yourself, the more likely you are not to take any action about yourself or even about your life. Negative thoughts create an environment for unhealthy self-esteem to flourish. There was a time I made a tweet on Twitter, and this was the tweet I made. I quote, "Do not just think you are at the top. Do not be limited with your thinking. Spread your wings of mindset. Start moving up. Even if you fail, add actions to your planning until you are at the top." I want you to know that thinking patterns can heavily influence your self-esteem. The way you think about yourself can heavily influence your self-esteem. Thinking patterns can be narrowed down to the mind. Shakespeare said something. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. The mind is the you in you. So whatever you think about yourself, whatever you believe about yourself, that's how it's going to be. So you can't stop it, you can't pause it, because the thoughts are already in your mind. The next factor that influences our self-esteem is physical abilities. Physical abilities are like your skills, your talents that you have as a person, the skills that you have acquired, but not one thing. Yes, fine, you might be physically abled, but your mind might be disabled. So what am I trying to say? Work on your mind, because it can influence your self-esteem more than your physical abilities can. no matter how you have so many skills to show, your mind can limit it for you. So you should ask yourself a question today. Is your mind going to be a setup for your success or a setback for your success? Another factor that can influence our self-esteem is genetics. Yes, genetics can actually influence our self-esteem. Studies show that a healthy or not so healthy self-esteem can be inherited. It can be passed through genes. There was time I saw on the internet, a lady was saying she loves writing and making new friends and that she's very social. According to her, she went on to say that she inherited it from her grandpa because she heard he was like that too. So, our genetics can actually influence our self-esteem, but it does not get to decide who you want to be for yourself. Regardless of what you have inherited or not, you can still set a pace of a healthy self-esteem for yourself. The next factor that influences our self-esteem is personality. Our personality. Now, personality is an individual difference in characteristic pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaving. People personalities are different. My pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaving cannot be yours. Just like I said, it is an individual difference. But however, no matter how your personality differ from the next person standing beside you, make sure it is something that doesn't bring down your self-esteem as a person. Make sure you have a good personality that speaks and stands out for you. So this is all I'm going to be sharing today on my channel on self-esteem. See you next time, where we're going to be talking more on self-esteem. Bye.